So this CERN thing in Switzerland with the evidence of great expenditure, and then the occultic ceremonies where they have goat's head. It's not Bambi, but it's a goat's head. So it's the reason why it's a goat's head. A goat, a guy dancing like a goat. Mm-hmm. And then they have people pulled up upside down, and this bizarre ritual that costs like $1 million or something like that.
Jerry, did you see that the opening ceremony for the tunnel near CERN?
That's what I'm talking about.
That was unbelievable, and that was so bold and brazen, wasn't it? Like that was clearly an occultic, eyes wide shut style ceremony. And you had a lot. I just couldn't. Someone sent that to me, and I thought, no, that can't be real. Can't be what?
Yeah.
And then you're seeing all these. I'm pretty sure Angela Merkel was there, so she's,
I believe so, in her her stately position. Yeah.
And a lot of Europe's leading business people and politicians, and it's like
dressed in their nice attire, watching this event. He's a gentleman who's hounded by the Swiss government, and he's shown very clearly that the Templars, if you take that Templars logo and cut it out and raise it up a bit, you can begin to see a pyramid. Okay. That he has in just wonderful evidence that the pharaohs essentially moved over there to Switzerland, and the Templars come from the pharaonic thing, because there's pyramids everywhere and everything. And,
there is, isn't there? Yeah.
It's astounding. All of this stuff is out there. And some of my actor friends who listen to the first parts are already gone. they're not here anymore. Believe me, they're not here anymore. But this is all for us to see. The CERN thing was an open satanic religion practice. They know it's a religion. Most of us don't believe it's a religion. No, they know it's a religion. You can look at the robes. You can see the rituals. They also, deception, sex, and drugs is part of their religion. All of this happening to all of us.
Well, for anyone listening, if they're not clued up on this, they could go, well, where's Jerry getting all this? And I would just steer people to that Gotthard tunnel opening ceremony. I think that was the name in Switzerland.
Yeah, the one that was a Gotthard base or something like that.
Something CERN. And that's a tunnel that connects to CERN, right? And when I would use the term satanic in not the Christian connotation, but if we take a broader satanic term, then I think you're bang on. And coming back to CERN, I wanted to ask you, I felt the driving point of the lake drain is your character, Mr. Woodward. So he's a journalist, and you say in there he's given a piece of CERN, which I found funny. And by the way, anyone listening to this, there's a shitload of humor in this. It's not as serious as we're making out. I like that you're laughing at yourself. You've got guys walking around in tinfoil hats, tinfoil suits. That made me laugh.
Yeah, man.
And it's not, and it's good to have fun with this stuff too. But at the same time, after researching CERN, what's your take on? I'm totally baffled. I heard so many different ideas, but what do you think's really going on at CERN?
I think a large part of it is a psychological operation. Everything is a psychological operation.
We've talked about how the elite seem to be ahead of the process in many ways. They may have an ancient religion, even though all these politicians are out there saying they're Christian or whatever the main religion is of that country. It seems like they're practicing something else, and that it's not just in Bohemian Grove, but even, Stanley Kubrick was a very connected individual, and what he said in Eyes Wide Shut, he seems to be commenting on that. I would also implore anyone listening to go onto YouTube and search, I forget the name of the tunnel, but it was the Swiss tunnel in about 2015, an opening ceremony. And in that, you've got a lot of Europe's key businessmen, politicians, and so on, and it's total eyes wide shut before your eyes if you watch it. Now, wasn't it insane? And actually, I think, sorry, you sent that to me, didn't you? You were the one who put me onto that.
I think I was. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I just couldn't believe. At first, I thought this has got to be a joke. Is this real? But yes, that's so. People can laugh at that, but the point is, the people above us in power are doing all this stuff, and they believe something's going on. Now, in Matrix Visions, you are showing the symbols they use that they believe can influence us. But beyond that, there's been many people speculated we're living in a matrix, and even, if you go beyond the movie The Matrix, which once again, that's very recent, that came out about 1999, I think.
Yeah.
Now you've got, since then, quantum physics and various types of science is starting to, it appears that they're starting to prove that, yeah, we are in some sort of simulated world, or what we're experiencing is not actually reality.
If I can just quickly chip in just the last few months, NASA astrophysicists have actually said we are living in a holographic universe. They've actually said, I mean, that's only the opinion of a small number of scientists, but they've said that. They say, yeah, what we're looking at now means that this universe conforms to living in a hologram.
Right. So, but you're taking it a step further to say that whoever the ruling elite are, or somebody higher than the known global elite, are able to, they're aware of this, what controls this matrix, or they're aware, they somehow know patterns on how to influence that.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, my personal belief, and that's why I try to sort of make the distinctions between my personal beliefs and the facts that we know, because there's both. But my personal belief is that the conspiracy, runs higher than this world. That it's not human beings in charge at all. Now, who the top elite in the spiritual realms are, I have no idea. Whether you want to call that aliens or demons makes no difference to me, really. I think that those terms that we use are human attributions, that we need to get beyond this kind of distinction between aliens, demons, all this sort of stuff. I just think that there are other worlds out there, other worlds that conform to different laws of physics, different vibrationary states, where many different things are possible, whether you see that as a religious thing or a possible quantum physics scientific kind of thing. I think that there are these other worlds, and a hierarchy within that, with the planet Earth, or this world that we live in, at least, is sort of trapped. So I think the conspiracy goes way beyond our planetary life, and that there are these beings, these other things that we don't know about, that are actually putting the shots.
We've touched on conspiracy subjects. Well, I believe we're touching on many things that are conspiracy facts, not conspiracy theories. But I think in general, with these type of discussions, whether it's a podcast or group discussion or whatever, you're just sort of led, at the end of the day, you're led to the level of, okay, well, you've got a global elite or something like that, or you've got these bastards in power. But what I've picked up with Matrix Visions is that you believe, and I'm on your wavelength there, but you believe there's a spiritual conspiracy above that, which most researchers into how the elite work in that never really talk about or aren't aware of. And you believe that this, that whole Matrix Visions is about, you're doing it through poetry, which is brilliant, but you're also showing the symbolism that the elite use to sway our subconscious minds, whether it's through, the political slogans, whether it's through the corporate slogans like Nike and that. And then you're implying something. Can you talk about what you're implying is behind all that at the higher level?
Yeah, sure.
It's a bitch of a question, sorry.
There you go. I mean, I was just thinking, like, it's worth just quickly mentioning, I think, about you touching upon the elite, and that not many people are talking about the spiritual conspiracy. And the one exception to that, of course, is David Icke, who is a lot more accepted now than he was before, but still has that kind of tag of he's a bit crazy going on.
Right.
But I didn't want to talk about him, but I just wanted to sort of bring up the fact that there are a lot of indicators that the elite are into some wacky spiritual shit. You know, they have satanic ceremonies. I think that's beyond dispute. I guess that's too strong, but that's my personal feeling.
Well, I mean, if you use a loose definition of satanic, then yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, let's bring up a popular thing like Bohemian Grove, for instance. You know, we know that famous people, bankers, politicians in the US, once a year go to this ceremony in the woods. They dress up in black hooded robes, they light fires, and they have this huge stage show of burning a human effigy whilst talking in tongues that makes no fucking sense. And it was rumour for years, although we kind of knew it was going on, and then Alex Jones actually got some footage of it, which you can see on YouTube now. So that's just one thing to indicate to me that the elite are involved with some sort of religion that predates a lot of stuff. I mean, even if you look at the Freemasons, where you can trace that back to ancient Egypt. You know, when you look at their symbology and all that stuff, you know that there's some kind of, at the top levels of Freemasonry, I mean, that there is some form of ancient religion. So I personally believe that, yeah, there is this. How much actual power they have in this world, I don't know, but I believe that the elite, that there is this, small group that that believe all this stuff. I mean, even Hitler was into his, supernatural stuff and hypnosis and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I just want to sort of say that to give a background of why it's maybe not as crazy as it first sounds, I suppose, to kind of say that there's a spiritual side to the conspiracy. Because, yeah, I do believe there is a conspiracy. I hate that word conspiracy because it automatically conjures up all sorts of stuff. But, I believe stuff that I read about and think about and, look at facts and conclusions and evidence and all that sort of stuff. And then on the personal side, I'm a spiritual person, that's just something that's always been with me. It's not something I think of intellectually. I just know there's more to life than this one little human drop in the ocean. I just know that. So yeah, I've always been interested in these kind of ideas of the illusion of life, which, I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, if you look at something like Buddhism, their concept of Maya, that everything here is illusion.
Yep.
That's kind of acceptable, and then you talk about the Matrix, and people automatically think of the film, and they think of it in terms of science and aliens and stuff like that. When I don't think there has to be that division between the two, I mean, spirituality and science used to be one, I think.
Yeah.
So when I talk about the Matrix, I don't really mean of it, I kind of mean of it beyond science and beyond spirituality. But ultimately, I mean that everything is an illusion. And I believe that it's purposely an illusion, that someone is in control of that illusion, or some things are in control of that illusion.
Right.
That's all stuff I've kind of believed for years, really.